getting ready, Luna? You ready? Ready, 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 ready. Yeah, let's go. We're quick, we get across the other one too, Luna. Okay. Oh, Luna, Luna, don't stop, don't stop. Right, you can snuff now. Oh, it's pretty dark here. Oh, James. It would be good if that chain was off the sound system and not a real bell. So the show's starting now. Oh, if it's off a sound system, it's a very good chain. Oh, that's a sound. Oh, it's going to be brilliant, Luna. It's going to be brilliant, brilliant sound. I'll be quiet now while it's taking place. Sound is brilliant.
One of McCorkle's most famous ships was the Minnehaha, which at the time was known as the Great Yacht from Derry. In the 18th century, trade links between the cities of Londonderry and Philadelphia were established. That led to the establishment of links between the two cities. In the early spring of 1839, flaxseed, essential to the linen industry, was shipped from Philadelphia to Derry, and on the return trip, linen and more immigrants were heading to Philadelphia. From 1861 to 1939, during the age of the steamship and the railway, migrants from Ulster, North Connaught and North Leinster left Ireland through Derry. In the year 1887, the Guildhall was built, named in honour of its connection to the City of London and its guilds. Sadly, it was to be destroyed by fire just 21 years later. Amelia Earhart's historic landing took place in Londonderry on the 21st of May 1932, making her the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. This is a whole new era.
It is famous for sure to make us all know, just as well as for Frosty and Sherry, Derry. Them best makers, dressmakers, milliners too.
round that way. Sit, sit, sit. Don't think it's dark enough yet for this display. That's all. I'll have to go back later, Pet. Why how to see them lights lit up even with the naked eye? Where are we supposed to go next now? Follow the crowd.
As the 20th century dawned, the desire in Ireland to break free from British rule was growing across the country. But not all agreed. A majority in the northeast wished to remain within the United Kingdom. After violence from all sides and a 2-year war of independence across much of the island, a compromise was reached. Unionists were of the opinion that the entire Ireland should resist Home Rule and continue to be governed by London. Nationalists were a long way from comprehending any form of partition. When partition was enacted in 1921, the majority nationalist city of Derry remained a very reluctant part of the majority unionist area known as Northern Ireland. The presence of a city with such a large nationalist majority was a problem for the Stormont government from the start, and the city became the focus for decades of oppression and discrimination. The sectarian divide in the city is considered a case that represents how quickly events can spiral out of control when constitutional issues merge with rising local tensions. The social and economic everyday histories contrast with traditional political histories. It was in the city of Derry that inequality and discrimination in issues that would later make up the core demands of the civil rights movement, voting, housing and jobs, was most stark. The gerrymander of the city ensured that unionists, who made up around 40% of the city's population, would always be able to elect 60% of the seats on the Londonderry Corporation. The city had the second highest rate of unemployment in the north, and overcrowding in some areas was unbearable. In the early 1960s, the Stormont government announced plans to build a second university. There was a mass campaign for it to be built in the city, but the Stormont government ignored the demands of the citizens and built the new university in Coleraine, a staunchly unionist town. But the university campaign had laid the seeds of a new trend in the city, and as the problems of poor housing and high unemployment worsened, local reaction was beginning to take shape. Many were beginning to see how other oppressed minorities were organising themselves to fight back, and were particularly inspired by the civil rights movement in the USA. The Northern Ireland Civil Rights Association began to develop in the city. They demanded equality in votes, housing and employment, marking the beginning of civil rights agitation in the city. On the 5th of October 1968, the issue first came to the attention of the world when the RUC attacked a peaceful demonstration in Duke Street, and a lone television camera captured the attack. And then a short, concentrated period of protests and marches. 50 days of revolution. Forced reforms from the unionist government in November 1968. After 3 days of rioting in the city in August 1969, the British Army returned to the streets. In December 1969, the IRA split into the provisionals and officials, and both launched their campaigns. As violence intensified from all sides, the Unionist government introduced internment without trial. During a peaceful anti-internment protest, on the 30th of January 1972, British soldiers opened fire on unarmed marchers, killing 14 and wounding 17 more. The day became known as Bloody Sunday, and it changed the course of the conflict. For the next 2 decades, Derry was a city at war. Population movement created a divided city as Unionists left the city side for the perceived safety of the waterside, and many nationalists moved the other way. But just as Derry was the crucible for the emergence of the conflict in the north, so too was it central to the process which ended it, with prominent figures like John Hume and Martin McGuinness playing major roles. The early talks about peace took place in Hume's home in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Hume would win a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts, and McGuinness would be widely lauded for his part. After the ceasefires were called, the city also led the way in resolving many of the outstanding issues that were still causing unrest. One of these, parades, was resolved when local residents and the apprentice boys reached an accommodation in the early 2000s. And the relentless struggle by the Bloody Sunday Justice Campaign proved that justice was possible when they forced the British to admit the truth about Bloody Sunday in 2010. That all of the dead and wounded had been innocent, and that the shootings were unjustified and unjustifiable. In contrast to Bloody Sunday, it was one of the brightest days in the city's history. The story of Derry as the Crucible City is a violent and heart-rending story, as a peaceful campaign for civil rights was met with violence, beginning a spiral in the conflict that was to lead to massacre in the streets and the deaths of hundreds locally and thousands across the north, in the longest single period of conflict in Ireland. But it is also a positive story, one of a community uniting to tackle oppression that they faced and defeating it. One that shows the indomitable nature of the human spirit in how ordinary people faced extraordinary odds and overcame them. One that can now be an example for others.
Look at that rain going through the light, looks good looking. Fresh meat of the dog here. You ever worth sixpence?
There isn't a horse inside these walls.
Not nice, your own business. Go away. Wait, go back to work. Robinson! Any word on the move?
The ships are still afloat.
See if this is last. I have to go. I can't stick this. Fresh meat rations! Fresh meat rations! Rations! Come on, ladies, too cold.
And what? I wish he was. You would have us starve just to save the dogs. Chuck up a barley and only keep you so far. But you look at the shape of you. There's no eating in you. Madam McKinley. Here. How about a wee song for one of those blood meat puddings there?
Alas, dear Hawkins, not a single chance. I need payment. Visions are so low, and one of your simple chins will not do.
Will you break my finger?
You know your place, woman. This siege has caused immigrants towards their heirs. That's worse than the plague.
Fresh meat! Fresh meat for rations! Don't all Russian ones!
Please! That's good. I will bring a sparkle to your eye. Oi! What's your ring? It belongs to Walter's wife. I saw her wearing it last week. She has been for it no longer. I have meat.
Shut up, will you?
You would steal a dead woman's ring before her finger was cold. To feed your own grumbling gut. I'm surprised you didn't eat her time. Come here, you soft-witted bull's pizzle. What are you gonna do? You lily pigeon-livered stewed brute. Oh, I'd beat thee, but I wouldn't fetch you.
No, come on. We all have to do what we have to do to get by, but we needs must stand firm and steady together.
That's easy for you to say, you rat-bleeding scoundrel. You make gold from death. 105 days now. I've watched man, woman and child perish. We need to open these gates and end this interminable existence. All hope of help is gone. We sit here, waiting to starve, sicken or be slaughtered. The streets are afflicted with the rankest compounds of villainous smells that ever offended a nostril. The ships are on the move. What? Montjoy is out in front.
Shut up.
It's picking up speed. What is it? It's under attack from the Jacobites on the fight. They're heading for the boom. They're going straight for it. Go to heart of the barricade. Are they chains holding? The Montjoy's running right. Oh, the others are pushing on. They're three. They've done it! What? They've broken through the boom! We're safe! Through the ship! No more rats! No more dogs! You'll not need that!
No more, see, you won't bet now. You won't bet.
We need to get ready. We must get ready. Come on, let's go.
We don't have dogs anymore!
Go on now. The noise. Oh, it's down to 2.5 minutes, winner. That's good timing. No right barker at you this time. I'll do it here, wee minute, Pet. Go around a wee snuffy these things here. Oh, it's coming, it's going to start, Luna. It's going to start. Oh, Luna's going to start. And hold on now, Pet. I had to sit down. I know we are bored, but this is good, Pet. It's all happening here now.
The island of Derry, 431 to 1566. Columkill, an Irish abbot and missionary evangelist credited with spreading Christianity. 12th century seen the Vikings arrive on the shores of Kill. Fought them off every time. Kill flourishes entering the 1500s.
I tried to hold the camera and Luna's lead in one hand, and I'm trying to keep on hand on me. Luna, what over here, we want a pet. What's nice here, it doesn't show up, and that's the rain going through the searchlights. This GoPro's not showing it up, but it looks like glitter. This GoPro barely showing them lights up. The lights look pretty good with the rain going through. Might come down tomorrow night with the old Surrey mobile phone. That took good pictures in the dark. I'll leave this one at home. Weekend, see if I can get somebody to adopt it for the night. Alright. No saying, can anybody look at the Luna? Oh, not again. If I came back a second time and it wasn't as cold, it would be better, because I know what happened the first time. We took the wrong turn, went past tourist information, and it knocked us out of sequence. But when you start off, see one, move to the next one, you don't have long to wait. What have you got there? She's eating something. I can hear crunching. I can hear crunching. I'm not exaggerating. I picked up Luna's shit earlier on today and there's blue plastic in it. She eats everything. I had two buns on the kitchen tabletop the other day. Both went missing, including pastry cases. Everything went down that throat. It's a waste disposal. We usually close them down for that. Just there's no one else our room. That's the only ones that we do. Now the bathroom downstairs is probably open. This would be better viewed up in the walls. Honey. We'll put them straight up now, yeah. That'd be better view if we stand on the walls. There's folk on the walls there. Seven minutes to go. Battery's going to go flat. Come and see us, we gates open, Pet.
Fire on.
No, Runner's terrible. I'm having to drag her.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you walk around here now, just solve it up. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe I might see there's no arrows. Maybe they're supposed to come in and walk right around the cathedral and end up watching a display. There's no arrows to tell you what way to go. But there's floodlights on here, so you're meant to walk around it. It's not as good as the last illumination show they done during City Culture. The lights are hardly going to show up well on this GoPro, but they're not showing up very well on my eyesight either. It's just a wee bit done. A wee bit of history panel here. Oh, the Earl of Bishop Trail. There's an Earl of Bishop Trail. Bishop of Derry, 4th Earl of Bristol. So where's the trail go? Where does the trail go? Giant's Causeway, that's some trail for the Bishop, wasn't it? I'll try and get the end of the touristy space here. The big long name parish church, whatever that is. Stadium's chapel, that's easier. Well, try and make a wee bit of money out of them. I wonder will ever be the Illuminate trail. If there is a bit of Grant or a bit of mental hospital, that's the Illuminate trail is going to be. I need to get the hand warmer here now, Pet. Come on, Lynette. Try to fall asleep in the cold. Get the hand warm out again. Oh, weird wee devices. I've two of them. But can't work it and work it out at the same time. All excitement's about to happen. Do you want to come up here on the wall and see it? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, Emma. I'm going to lift you up on the wall here. And you can watch it too. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Up we go. Up we go on the wall. There you go. You can watch it too. As long as you don't bark.
After a 9-year war against the Gaelic O'Neills and O'Donnells, the English held Londonderry, which was given city status after the war ended in 1603. James I, the new king in London, developed a revolutionary plan to subordinate Ulster once and for all. The plantation of Ulster required the colonising of the area by loyal English and Scottish migrants who were to be Protestant in religion. The city was the jewel in the crown of the Ulster plantation. Among the city's new buildings was St. Columb's Cathedral 1633. It is one of the most important 17th century buildings in the country and the first specifically Protestant cathedral in the world after the Reformation. Derry was renamed Londonderry. St. Columb's Cathedral has given many people in this city a place to practice their faith. It's also helped many find their faith. John Newton, who was born in Wapping, London in 1725, Newton made his name as a North Atlantic slave trader. In 1748, Newton narrowly escaped death when he reached County Donegal shore before a terrifying storm started. This close encounter with death marked the beginning of his spiritual journey. St. Columb's is believed to be the site of an epiphany that led to his abandonment of the slave trade. It was on this journey that Newton came up with what is perhaps the most famous hymn ever written in history. Nobody wants to hear you. Shut you up now. Shut you up. Oh, stay. Sit. I tell you what, I had to wait all that time for that. Aye. More time waiting than anything else, Pat. With the crowd goes. Now the rain and the lights show up well there. That's one of the nicest things in the night. Just hanging them up, the hailstones on the lights.
Careful.
I'm starting here in the shelter. Come on, minute, we'll get that last movie. What's happening in there? They're all nice and warm and all. Not many ones wearing masks now, is there? There's some, not many. I don't know. You'd like to be in there in the heat, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you love to be in there in the heat? Go to the wee cafe and all. Aye. Would none like to go to the wee cafe and all. Well, you definitely came to the wrong home if you want to be taking the cafes. My granny would have took you to cafes. Well, she loved them. But where do we get our wee caravan going? Ah, it's nearly going to go away in it this weekend with all these storms. We could still head off tomorrow for one night, couldn't we? So a wee trial night, me and you. First time in the caravan, check if the heater's working. If the heater doesn't go, you don't want to be in it. Hailstones. Look at that bed out of hailstones coming down. Look at these laser lights, just hailstones.
What makes Derry so great is its people. All 110,000 of them and counting. Derry is known for its generosity and sense of community. Without Dr. Tom McGinley's vision, determination, skills and knowledge, we could not have the Foyle Hospice to turn to in our time of need as a community and city. Derry has a long history of sporting achievements across many disciplines, including GAA, soccer, judo, boxing, rugby, and not forgetting greyhound racing. Since 1922, Faoistear Colmcille has welcomed thousands of young people and adults through its doors, and in turn sent many of these out into the world with added confidence and expertise. Some of Ireland's literary greats have emerged from Derry. The playwright Brian Friel, the poet Seamus Heaney, and writers Seamus Dean and Jennifer Johnston will be remembered among the most accomplished and successful writers of the last 2 centuries. The huge success of Derry Girls has brought the talents of Saoirse Monica Jackson and Jamie Lee O'Donnell to an international stage. City of Culture cemented Derry's position as Ireland's cultural powerhouse. Derry is now a must-visit tourism destination, a festival city with world-class events. Derry City and Strabane District Council has announced the most significant investment package ever undertaken in the region. The city deal will enable Ulster University to expand its world-class research and innovative projects in health, medicine, artificial intelligence, robotics and technology. Foyle Street Riverfront and Queen's Quay transformation in Derry will include a new Magee Medical School, a walled city experience and an exciting DNA museum.
Come on now, honey. They didn't mention Paul Coulter or Donna Eurovision Song Contest. That's actually the largest clock face in Ireland. If you're up there, the hand is taller than a person. It doesn't look that tall when you look at it. It was on TV one time. If they actually had a wee life-size model beside it, give you a scale. Oh, it's right on 8 o'clock now. Hand moved, change is turned off. Turned off the change, and nothing to keep us amused here when the change is gone. That big hand actually moved the full minute. So she's dead on 8 o'clock now, and she's not going to go to 1 minute past 8. Oh, she is moving there, 1 minute past 8 now. But she moved half a minute at a time, like 4 minutes. It actually makes proper movements. It's not going slowly, like a modern clock. See, we're watching clocks now, and we're becoming an expert in clocks, pet. Boredom. Some of the things we do when we're away, like to pass the time. Anybody asked me how the light show was, I'd really tell about the clock. The clock was, you can't move anymore. You cannot move. Hold on a minute. Let up, let go, up, minute, up you go. She's frozen, she can't get up. Up you go. What am I trying to get you in the video? Up you go. Oh. Stay up there.
In Derry, the McCorkle line, operated by William McCorkle, was one of the most famous shipping lines. One of McCorkle's most famous ships was the Minnehaha. which at the time was known as the Great Yacht from Derry. In the 18th century, trade links between the cities of Londonderry and Philadelphia were established. That led to the establishment of links between the two cities. In the early spring of 1839, flaxseed, essential to the linen industry, was shipped from Philadelphia to Derry, and on the return trip, linen and more immigrants were heading to Philadelphia from 1861 to 1939. During the age of the steamship and the railway, migrants from Austell, North Connaught and North Leinster left Ireland through Derry. In the year 1887, the Guildhall was built, named in honour of its connection to the City of London and its guilds. Sadly, it was to be destroyed by fire just 21 years later. Amelia Earhart's historic landing took place in Londonderry on the 21st of May 1932, making her the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. This is a whole new era.
Bit of a blip there.
In this name, yes, for sure, to make I know all of your news. Just as we last foreground and sharing. Them dressmakers, dressmakers, milliners too.
Couple of wee booths on at that tent pit, and that's not bad. We'll head back now to the Peace Bridge pit. That's enough excitement for one night. We'll go home now and get on. What do you reckon, Linda? Will the work go on day? I think no. You'd rather be in Freeham Wood. We did scavenge a wee bit, like, there's a bit, but too much sitting around, too crowded for a girl. And see, we had to test you out, see if it was worthwhile taking you anything else, I guess. Barked at every pup there was. Every pup you barked at. Some of them were egging you on. There was a wee beige curry thing. And he was definitely, he was egging you on, so he was big time.